Riley from Hel On Heels, the blog, and today I want to talk to you about how I balance my full-time job with my blog and my business and my YouTube channel and all the different things that fall under the umbrella of Hel On Heels. I've gotten several requests for kind of like girl boss, how to balance side business, side hustle with my full-time job, and so today I want to break down this video and exactly how I do it, like what tips I use, what strategies I have in order to balance both of those things. So let's do it. I feel like this video is important because it's really, really hard to balance both. It just is. I have a full-time job that literally I leave my house at like 7:15 in the morning and I don't get home until 7:15, 7:30 at night. And I'm in the car 2 hours, I'm at work at least 9 hours a day. Lately it's been a lot more. And it's just really hard to make time for my blog. And so I think it's important to kind of share these tips and know that if you have a full-time job and you're trying to like start up a side hustle, you can do both. You just have to kind of plan and organize and sometimes make some sacrifices for the things that matter to you. So I'm gonna break down kind of my strategies and tips in this video for how I'm doing it. I am not an expert at this yet. I mean, I've been doing it for a long time, but it's really, really hard, like I said. So there's definitely ways that I can improve and kind of work towards it a little bit better, but this is what's been working for me so far, and hopefully I perfect this process one day. But for right now, this is kind of how I'm doing it. The most important thing I think that you need to consider when you're balancing both a full-time job and your blog is making your business or your side hustle or your hobby or whatever it is that you're trying to balance a priority. Like, people always say that you make time for the things that matter to you most. And if you really want your blog or your business to succeed, you need to make your blog or your business a priority. And that applies to anything. My husband plays rugby and he makes rugby a priority because it's important to him. It's something he loves to do. So same thing with my blog and my business. I always make time to prioritize my blog and my business and anything that falls again under the umbrella of Hel On Heels. Like, I just make sure that whatever I'm doing is to benefit my business. And that means saying no to things sometimes. That means if, my friends are going to brunch on a Saturday, but I really need to shoot some content, that I say no. And while it's not always fun or ideal, it's important to me that my business that has my name on it succeeds. So that's why I always kind of take that into consideration and make my blog and my business a priority. I think that is the #1 thing that really, really helps me balance both my full-time job and my blog. And in addition to saying no to things, one of those things is sometimes sleep. I know it's so important to get your beauty sleep, and 8 hours a day makes you a better human being, but I don't have 8 hours of sleep. There's just no way for me to accomplish everything that I need to get done and also get a full night's sleep. So Diet Coke is my best friend. If coffee is your thing, that's cool. Whatever it takes. It's possible. You can work your 9 to 5 or 8 to 5 or 7 to 5, whatever it is. And then come home and then just work until 7 to 2 in the morning if you need to. I mean, it's kind of a bummer, but you have to get it done. That's the #1 thing. You have to have the perseverance and drive to get it done. The thing that helps me the most with balancing my blog and my full-time job is time batching. I'm sure you guys have heard about this, but it's literally the only way I get things done. I have to do everything on the weekend, majority of the things. I can do some things at night, but it's usually dark when I get home, so like shooting content isn't an option for me after work. So I have to do all of that over the weekend. So when I have this weekend time, I make sure to use it wisely by time batching. Now, if you haven't heard of time batching, it's kind of grouping together the tasks that are similar to get them all knocked out in one chunk. So like chunking up your time, I hate that word. Grouping, we're gonna go with grouping. Grouping up your time to get these tasks done for like longer periods of time. So for example, over the weekend, today is Sunday, so I'm shooting all of my content today. So that includes video, that includes photos, that includes photo editing, all of those things. So I'm focusing on the images and the video content and everything that needs to be shot with either a camera or whatever today. That's what I focus on today. Yesterday was all about writing my posts. So I wrote all of my posts for the entire week. I went ahead and scheduled out like I wrote out what I want the captions for social media to be for all of my posts. I went ahead and like planned out everything that needed to be written down. So I didn't even get dressed yesterday. Like yesterday I was in my PJs legitimately all day. And all I did was crank out writing posts and writing social media posts and writing out content and planning content and things like that. So that was yesterday. Today I have on makeup and I'm shooting my photos for all the posts that I wrote yesterday. I'm shooting today's video, I'm shooting next week's video, and I'm doing anything that needs to be shot today. So that's like one example of how I do it. At night, when I get home from work, like I said, I can't really shoot content. A, because I look like a homeless person after work. Like I have on no makeup, my hair is a disaster. It's just not cute. So I don't shoot content anyway, and then it's dark. So you need the natural lighting to shoot, and so it's like, it's just no reason. So for those nights, I focus on kind of scheduling out Pinterest posts on Tailwind, or I work on tweeting, social media posts, like things that I can schedule out ahead of time. I go and I optimize my SEO. Like anything that's kind of like an admin task, I focus on at night after the weekend or after the work day. A couple of other ways you can time batch, you can work all of your editing together, which is what I will do tonight after I finish shooting all of the stuff today. I will go and edit all my photos, I'll edit these videos. I will do all of the editing this evening when it's dark and it doesn't matter. Instagram is a whole separate beast from social media. It takes its own strategy. It's exhausting, quite honestly. The time batching is the best way for me that I can get it done because I literally have 48 hours from Saturday morning to Sunday night, and then during the week I can do things, but they're more like the admin tasks. Again, like I said, SEO, scheduling out things on Hootsuite and Tailwind, and all these different tasks, and working on kind of the like-to-know-it links, things like that that are admin. Oh, answering emails, that kind of stuff I can do during the weeknight, but I still batch all of those tasks together so I can like knock it out in one fell swoop. One more thing I want to talk about with time batching is my newsletter. I think the newsletter is very important to engage with the people that have subscribed in case they miss your post throughout the week, or you have a great sale you want to share, or anything like that. I think a newsletter is super important for your blog and your brand as well. I make sure to include that when I'm time batching. So I go ahead and I plan out time to complete my newsletter and get that set up and scheduled. It takes a minute because it's almost kind of, my newsletter in particular is almost kind of like writing a little mini blog post. I write like a little newsletter blurb, and then I have the post throughout the week and any sales I want to share, anything like that. But it does take a minute, so I make sure to make time for that as well. Unfortunately, I almost always do it the very last thing. So I'm like doing it at like 1 o'clock in the morning on Sunday, and it goes out Monday afternoon. So I need to get better about doing it earlier in the week, but I include all of my posts that are coming up, including the post that's going live on Monday, because my post will go live Monday morning and then my newsletter will launch at lunch. So I have to complete all of my other tasks usually before I do my newsletter. But anyway, I think a newsletter is really important. If you don't have one, I highly recommend you start one, and then include it in your tasks while you're planning your time batching. Along with time batching, I also make sure to keep myself on schedule. Because there's only so many hours that I have to get things done, I make sure to time myself. I give myself a certain amount of time to complete a task. For example, yesterday I was writing a post on books that I read lately. So I timed myself. I knew which books I was going to talk about. It wasn't a hard post to crank out. So I needed to make sure that I used my time efficiently and wisely, and I timed myself to get that post done. I just scheduled the timer on my phone, and I plugged in my little earphones and listened to my Spotify Get Shit Done playlist, and I just cranked it out. But I made sure to get it done in the little amount of time that I gave myself on my timer on my phone, and when it goes off, like, it needs to be done. And so it's kind of a good way to challenge myself to make sure that I'm completing the tasks in a timely fashion that I've already planned out and scheduled. So that really helps me, and I do that with all of my tasks. For video, it's a little bit more complicated because you have to make sure you get it right. Sometimes you get in here and you're super tongue-tied. If you watched my March favorite videos, go back and look at that one for sure, because I had a hard time getting my words out for that video in particular. So that kind of stuff I try not to, I know it's going to take longer, and I may get a little bit off schedule, but especially when I've already planned out my post, then I definitely need to keep it within the allotted time that I have given myself. Speaking of planning is the most important thing, I think, to run a successful brand, blog, business, whatever you want to call it. So I'm going to show you my editorial calendar. It's very unofficial. This is my planner. It's from Bando. I love it. I've written a couple of posts on how I use my different calendars. So I use my Google Calendar. Steven and I have a shared Google Calendar with like events that we need to be present at. I'm pink, he's blue, like together we have to be green, like that kind of stuff. We need to go to events together, we're green, that kind of thing. So, so we have that calendar for like where we need to be when. Then I have my work calendar, which is totally separate, like my full-time job calendar, which is on my work email. And it's totally separate, and that's got my meetings, things like that. But then I use this for my blog. And it does have when I need to go to events, but mostly it's for scheduling content. So again, this is from Bando. I love it. I love the stickers and I love the format. I actually wrote a whole post about this that I can link below too. And this is how I use it. So here is, I marked my spot. Here is the, see, it's super easy, but it has what I'm posting what day. So this was a couple weeks ago when I did the Ponyo hairstyle video. So I have that on Monday, and then I have which Instagram post. I did an Instagram post with Ponyo and kind of like put those together. I have everything from like my Instagram post on here to my blog post, like what I'm planning out. And I've planned out all the way through May and most of June. And then I also have things on here like what I'm going to share on social media that isn't Instagram. So like this was the week of Cinco de Mayo. So on the 2nd, I have like reshare tequila recipe video and things like that to kind of prep for the upcoming holiday. So I have literally everything in here. And then I also have my notes section where when I'm thinking about something, I just jot it down. So for my April favorites, I just like kept a running list. And I also have like which brands that I want to reach out to this week and pitch. I actually forgot to mention that in my time batching. Pitching brands is important to my blog as well, so I make sure to make time for that. And those usually do happen on weeknights after work. So anyways, I plan out every single post that I'm gonna write. I plan out my social media. I plan out if I'm doing a video that like April favorites or something that lists like 10 things, I go ahead and write down those 10 things. So while I'm thinking about it during the week, I can collect them and get them together if I'm going to put them in a video. So I write down basically every thought that I have about my brand in my very unofficial editorial calendar. I do it in a physical planner because I always have it with me. I just don't think about it during the week, like on my electronics or whatever. I'm not always near a computer. My phone, I just need more freedom to write things down, and I always have this with me, so no matter where I am, I can whip it down and like write down if a post idea hits me or something about content, or you know, I think of a brand that I want to reach out to, anything like that, and I can just jot it down in my planner. Another thing that I consider when I'm planning is outlining my post. I know I mentioned that I write down in my planner like the different things that I want to collect during the week if I'm making a list of 10 things you need or whatever, but I also go ahead and outline any post when I have time. So I go ahead and write out kind of what I want to accomplish in the intro, what I want to accomplish when I talk about each of the different points in the paragraphs. So having an outline definitely helps, and that I can do kind of while I'm on the go as well. While I'm thinking about it, I can just jot down an outline, so it's much easier to crank out the post when it's time to do that. Another great thing that helps with planning ahead is scheduling. There are several great tools that can help you schedule ahead of time. So I use WordPress for my blog. I'm able to schedule posts ahead of time with that. So while I'm writing posts on Saturday and Sunday, I can schedule them to go live on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, which are the days that I typically post. There are also several tools to help with social media. So Hootsuite is great for Twitter, Facebook. I don't typically use Hootsuite for Facebook. I use it mostly for Twitter because I prefer to schedule directly on the Facebook app. It's just a personal preference. I would rather schedule it directly on Facebook. I think that's an easy way to do it. It's truly, truly up to you how you do it. But I choose to schedule my Facebook post on Facebook and my Twitter post on Hootsuite. Then I use Tailwind for Pinterest. And that's a great tool because you're allowed to put pins into your queue. And so it's just like spitfiring pinning all week and you don't have to worry about it. So that's another great time batching task, is to go ahead and work on your Pinterest strategy and set up your queue for Tailwind for the entire week. For Instagram, there are ways that you can schedule on Instagram. I like to physically push the button. That's just me. But I use When to Post. It's an app that you can use, and it tells you your optimal times for posting every single day. So, you know, it could be like 8:45 p.m., whatever. And I typically pick the night one, the nighttime scheduling, they kind of give you 3 options, and every single one of mine there's a nighttime option. So that's the one that I pick because I'm home and I can manage my Instagram account, and I know, you know, I need to be engaging in comments and all of those things. So that way I can like physically push post. I can monitor and engage with the comments that come in with like the first hour. I just like to be present and aware of what's happening with Instagram. Again, I said it's a whole different strategy. So for that one, I don't typically schedule, but I do use Planoly to kind of plan out my feed and figure out which posting to go where. I will link all of these below so you guys know what I'm talking about. But it's a great tool to kind of set up your different feed, and it will show you like what your feed will look like once these posts are completed. So I like to look at it because I'm very, very aware of how my feed looks and not just my actual one Instagram sole post. So I really like that tool as well. And then again, YouTube, I use the YouTube scheduling post as well so that my post can schedule whether I'm at work or not. I think all of these are just great tools to kind of schedule ahead of time. So while I'm sitting at work, my social media is still firing off and I don't have to be paying attention at all. It's just going on its own. So I love scheduling ahead of time. I use that as one of my time batch kind of groups as well. Not chunks, groups as well, to schedule out my social media posts for the week. So the last thing I want to talk about is optimizing passive productivity. I spend 2 hours a day in the car, at least every day. It's infuriating, quite honestly, because that's 2 hours that I could be doing something else. Atlanta traffic is god awful, and so I'm just sitting there driving to work and then driving home, and nothing makes me more angry than sitting in the car wasting time. So that's when I use my time to learn new things. I think it's really important when you have a blog or a business or a side hustle to always have a student heart and have a thirst for knowledge. Technology is changing all the time. Strategies are changing all the time. And I think it's really important to stay up to date on these things. So that's the time that I use to either listen to audiobooks or podcasts or listen to that webinar that I signed up for. Anything like that, I do it while I'm commuting. In Georgia, we're not allowed to touch our phones while we drive. So it sits in my little holder on my dash, and I just let the audiobook or podcast or whatever play, and I can listen to it while I'm driving. I think it's a great way to kind of have passive productivity and not totally waste those 2 hours. Again, always be safe. So I'm not watching webinars, I'm more listening to webinars. I don't watch anything, but I can listen while I drive because quite honestly, I'm not even driving, I'm sitting. It's a parking lot. So I think that's a great time to kind of use that strategy. Same if you're going to the gym. I do that a lot too. I do watch webinars when I go to the gym. I get on my little elliptical and I watch webinars or I watch YouTube videos about how to learn different strategies and things going on. So I think it's really important to kind of use those times to learn. Because if you're not learning, you're not growing, and you have to find time to do it, and that's when I choose to use that time. All right, I think that's probably good for today. That was a lot of information. If you have any questions or you're interested in starting a blog and you have a full-time job, I'm always happy to talk to you guys. So be sure to reach out, leave a comment, whatever. This is something I'm passionate about because it's my life. I mean, it's what I do all day, every day, is balance both of these things that need to be done. So if you like this video, be sure to click subscribe and click the thumbs up, and I'll be sure to share more videos like this. Again, if you have any questions, leave a comment below. I share new videos every Monday, and I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.